Welcome to Switch's Q&A series. We are here with Bob Clayson, a graduate of Coding Campus in Provo, Utah. How are you doing today, Bob?
I'm doing fantastic.
Great. Bob, can you tell us what did you do before you went to Coding Campus? Just a
Uh,
little
pri-
background.
yeah, prior to Coding Campus, I did wildland firefighting, which here in Utah in the West is just fighting fires in the mountains and forest fires. I did that for a couple years, and then after that, I had some health issues, so I moved to just doing business-to-business sales, which is what I was doing right before starting Coding Campus.
Wow, that's a drastic change. How did you get into program? How did you find out that that was what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I started working for a tech startup in Draper, Utah, and got to kind of be part of um, product development in terms of being asked what my feelings were about user experience and stuff like that. And that kind of got me interested. And then I had a friend who works for Mozilla that occasionally comes and speaks to Coding Campus, uh, tell me about Coding Campus, and that's kind of what got me interested in it. And then I started taking the Code Academy courses and found that I really liked it.
Nice, that's great. Other than Code Academy, how else did you prepare for the boot camp?
I did just quite a bit of Google searching and other questioning people that I know that are in development about what it's like, what type of skills that you need in order to be a successful developer, and just really just doing a lot of homework about what it means to be a software engineer and how to start a career and what that would be like.
Nice. During that time you were preparing, how did you imagine a boot camp would be like, and what surprised you after you got in?
Yeah, so I kind of made an assumption that learning a coding language would be challenging enough that most of the course would be just simply learning the language and not necessarily actually doing development and getting a working website going. And I was surprised to find that learning a language, especially a language like Python, isn't as difficult as you would think, because it's deliberately, JavaScript and Python are both fairly readable languages. So learning that wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be, and we were able to spend a lot more time actually learning all of the other technologies surrounding doing actual development and get up at least three working websites within the course period. That surprised me. So.
Nice. Can you tell me about what your favorite project was that you worked on?
Yeah, my favorite project was our last project. It was a project called Kenji's Quest, and it was like an online component to a tabletop board game
Nice.
um, that we actually did for a Kickstarter project um, for an actual client. So the reason I liked that so much was that, first of all, we'd been through the course long enough that we really started to get comfortable with a lot of the technologies and scripting and stuff like that. So you felt a lot more productive and like you were figuring out how to do cool things. And also, I liked it because we weren't just defining our own project, but we were actually working with a client, getting figuring out what it is that they wanted out of the product, presenting that to them and making refinements and iterations to add features. And so I felt like that was a really cool opportunity to actually get work experience, what you'll be doing for a boss or what you'll be doing for a client in freelance or what have you.
Nice. On that project, were you on a team, and how large was that team?
Yeah, so the class, it was actually the whole class that worked on that project because it was the largest project that we'd had, and that was, I think, 7 students and then 2 instructors helped with that as well.
Okay, good to know. Was that difficult, I guess, being on such a large team, and would you sit down with the client directly, or was the instructors kind of like in between?
Yeah, so with in terms of difficulty in a team, the good thing was is that our class had been together for a while, and we um, had learned. I don't know. We just got along really well, I guess. So that made it a lot easier, and we just had good communication and good defining of roles and what we were each doing. That was done really well, and uh, working with the client, we did actually meet with them on multiple occasions, the entire team, where we could ask and give feedback, and we also were able to chat with them online to ask questions and things like that. And then some of the other communication was done through the instructors, but a lot of it was between individuals or as a group directly with the client.
Nice. Very cool. That seems really exciting to see that come together, especially with people that you've been learning with the entire semester.
Yeah.
My next question, can you share a success and a failure story where some sort of project that you failed but you learned from it, and then a really great experience that you've had at Coding Campus?
Yeah, for sure. I guess a kind of a failure story was when I was kind of preparing for the course a little bit. I I went through the Python course on Codecademy, but I didn't give as much attention to JavaScript, learning JavaScript. So learning AngularJS was a little bit more of a challenge because I felt like I was kind of catching up there. And there was some times where some of the other people who caught Angular a little bit better um, were, I guess, just way ahead, and I was responsible for a certain feature which added upon their features, and reading their code was difficult. So I guess what I learned from that is that in preparing for the course, I wish I would have spent more time learning JavaScript so that I wasn't trying to catch up um, before learning a framework like Angular.
Gotcha.
Um, a uh, good experience, positive experience, was implementing a library, finding some tools in order to do some drag and drop features, which I just thought was cool because it was really just me conceptualizing how I wanted the user experience to be, having the idea that it would be cool to be able to drag and drop game items to and from players, and then making that actually happen was cool because it was really sort of a foundation for working now, where I know that I want something to work a certain way, and then learning how to find the tools or find other people who know how to do it, and then implementing it yourself, and kind of learning that process. I thought was a big win and kind of a cool feature that the client liked. So
Nice. That sounds really neat. We'll be sure to link your project if it's online to show people what you've done.
yeah, it is actually. So
Cool. I'm wondering, does Provo Coding Campus, did you guys have a career day, and what was that like?
Yeah. We didn't have like a career day. What Coding Campus actually does is during our lunch hour, while we're eating every day, they would invite someone from a local company to come in and talk to our class, which was kind of a dual purpose. First, it allowed um, us to learn something from someone who's in the profession. They would usually come and give a demonstration about what their company does, what technologies they use, and maybe give us some information about some technology in particular for us to learn about. And then we were also able to network with these companies, exchange cards and information to just give us resources and places to apply and stuff like that.
Wow, every day.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you did a 9-week course, right?
That's right. That's right. So it was actually four out of every 5 days. So Friday was the only day we didn't have someone come in.
That's quite a lot of employers, though, and a great opportunity to relax and eat, but also, get to know about opportunities.
Exactly. Yep.
Neat. Um, Other than preparing more, if you could do this whole boot camp experience, what would you redo?
I think other than more preparation, I mean that's almost the given number one thing to try and do. But I think other than that, I would have probably picked a project that I could have done solo outside of the class and been doing that in my spare time at home, where I could have just gotten more direct experience that way. That's probably the number one thing I would do differently.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And if you came into any trouble with your personal project, you would have a mentor in class to talk to about.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
that's a great tip for students in boot camps right now.
Yep.
So let's move past graduation. Where are you now? What are you doing? What has been after boot camp life like?
hmm Um, yeah, I got a job pretty quickly. Luckily, within 2 weeks, I was employed. I work for Perfect Pitch Technologies. It's in Lehi, Utah. Right now, Perfect Pitch Technologies is it's call center software. So we integrate pre-recorded audio into live agent conversations, so we can have call centers in like the Philippines or in India or some of those other remote regions, and the live agent can initiate the pre-recorded audio by using key presses. So instead of calling someone and having a strong Indian or Filipino accent, they can just use those keystrokes to play the audio in different segments so that it, you eliminate the issue of accents. So it's kind of
Wow, that's really interesting.
Mhm.
Neat. What exactly do you do there? Do you do what kind of programming?
Yeah, so right now they've got me. We actually use the exact same stack as we learned in Coding Campus, which is Python, Django, and AngularJS, um, as well as a few other technologies. Right now, the I'm rebuilding the client in AngularJS using a service-oriented architecture. So it's a pretty cool project.
Neat. Okay, well, we are at my last question. This is kind of a tough one, even for myself. What do you want to do 5 years from now?
Yeah, that's not too difficult of a question for me. I definitely want to move into entrepreneurship and own my own business for sure.
Nice. Great. That's you're in the perfect field for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Bob, thank you for tuning in with us and answering my questions. I really hope that it helps a student out. We will leave Bob's Twitter account and email account if anyone has questions for him. Thanks so much.
Great, you bet.